Okay, folks, it is 6 o'clock. I'm going to call this meeting to order. We'd like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional and unceded territory of the Algonquin Nation. And please stand now for the national anthem. Okay, our first agenda item is a motion moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Dan Meeks, that the agenda for the regular meeting of council to be held April the 28th, 2026 be approved as amended to include a delegation from Diane Lake regarding the 150th anniversary of the causeway. Any questions or comments? All those in favor? Carried. Any disclosure pecuniary interest by any member? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I, Nikki Gowdy, declare a potential deemed direct or indirect pecuniary interest on the council agenda dated April 28th, item 12C, finance accounts payable April 2026, for the reason that my son is receiving a reimbursement for fire expenses.
Okay. Anyone else have anything? All right. Next, we have an approval of the minutes motion moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that the minutes from the regular meeting of council held on April the 14th, 2026 be approved as presented. Any amendments to that?
No, there is not, Madam Mayor. Oh, there we go.
Okay. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, mayor's remarks. And the first thing that I'd like to do is introduce our new deputy chief, Derek Lattimore. Derek, come on up to the table. Derek hails from Athens area, and I don't have your resume in front of me, but I know that you've spent many, many years in fire services. Leeds and Thousand Islands, I believe, was a big part of it.
Yeah.
And 32 years. So Derek will be leading our troops.
Right.
And welcome very much to Central Frontenac.
Thank
We're
you.
Happy
I'm
to have
happy
you.
be here.
Great.
Gonna make some good forward movement with
And-
training.
Around the table, Cindy, do you want to start?
Hi.
Welcome to the ship, Bill McDonald. We met yesterday.
And you know Kathy and I? Excellent. Well, thank you very much for being here, and I'm sure we'll hear from you later tonight, maybe, or the chief, one or the other. Then he'll just have to pick up the slack for you, eh? All right. Thanks, Derek. Take care. All right. Next, we have the delegation of Diane Lake. Come on up to the table, Diane. Push that button until the speaker is green.
Nothing of that.
The people listening won't hear you if you don't use your microphone.
Well, good evening. Did a project that took me to 7. Okay, back in 2017, I did a project that took me to 7 different cemeteries in Central Frontenac. I found the cemeteries were just like being in a history lesson. when you read what's on all of them. So then I decided I would do some research on a few of the names in the O'Connell Cemetery. Names that I'd never heard of before in our village of Sharbot Lake, such as Buell, Avery, Papa, Doran, Curry Mills, and many, many more. The list goes on. So as the story goes, one thing led to another, and I thought we should do the history of our village of Sharbot Lake for our 150th anniversary. I contacted Ann Walsh, Sharon McDonald, John Lee, Nelda Wan, and Jean Kirkham. So along with the research that had been done in the early 70s by a historical group headed up by Shirley Perniak, who a week and a half ago would have been 100, Doris Ayers, we have researched over 160 properties that are or were in the village. For almost 2 years of research in the old township assessment rolls and online on different sites, now we are ready to show everyone what we have gathered. But we have worked on no budget. We have no money. We applied for a couple of different grants and didn't get them because we didn't ask for enough. We thought the logical place to show our exhibit was the Soldiers Memorial Hall in Sharbot Lake. We submitted a request to have use of the hall twice for 4 days. And as you members of council agreed, we can have it. And thank you very much. We appreciate that. May 8th will be the 150th anniversary of the first train to come to Sharbot Lake. The Railway History Group hope to have their new train, and I just heard today, the new train, it's not new, it's from 1922. It should be arriving Thursday afternoon. It's leaving Barry's Bay about 11 o'clock, and if all goes well, it should get here about then. So that'll be something to watch for. At 2:30 on May 8th, there will be the unveiling of the mural down at the telephone office, which is at the corner of Elizabeth Street and Highway 38 there. And then at 5 p.m., it all kicks off up at the Kick and Push Brewery. And Jim McPherson is looking after more railway songs than anybody ever knew of. So that will be great. Thanks so much for allowing us to showcase our project in the Soldiers Memorial Hall. And I do have a few little things I just want to show you. Is that okay? Yeah. This is from the collection of Dr. Peter Bell. And we have 7 different buildings. Oh. This is a collection from Peter Bell, and I have 7 different of these buildings in my basement right now. We have the old town hall, or the old hotel, 2 stores, the mill, another house, and then a big barn. Yeah. Anyway, these are all going to be on display, and this one is what was the Methodist Church, and for people that don't know where the Methodist Church was, it was up on the hill directly across from the medical center, up on that high hill there. And it was torn down in about 1920, in the 20s. And this bell, not this one, but the one that came out of it, was given by the KMP to the church, as was the property that was built on. And that bell is the bell that's in the United Church in Sharbot Lake still. So the bell still rings. And I'll just show you one other thing. This, speak into the mic.
Diane, can I help you, or?
I think I'll just do it like this. This is a map of the old village of Sharbot Lake. So this is the causeway. Okay. And this is where the railway tracks. This is the beach. All right. And this was done by Donald Rock, and we're going to have it as part of our display up there. But this would be their first train station. This would be Thompson's Mill. This is the oldest house in Sharbot Lake that is still standing. And Jerome Thompson built it as his homestead. And now it's 3 apartments. Ann Walsh lives in one of them. This is the old hotel. And this it was Shibley Hotel. Jesse Shibley built it, and he got a land lease from the KNP to build it, a 22-year lease. He built the hotel, and within 5 years it burnt. This is where the medical center is right now, right where that building is. And this is looking the other way and that's where Thompson's Cut is that we have and stuff like that. This is not the first train, but it looks like that's what it looked like. This is a different name. This is the first railway station. What else we got up there? Just the causeway, I guess. But it's all numbered, and we have lots more to go with it. But this and this will all go together up at there, and we have lots of other stuff to show. Just for people that have been around here for a long time, we have a hockey sweater that belonged to Dr. Andy Weatherhead from the hockey team from 1920. So we've got a lot of great things. So that's it for me. I hope everyone will join us. We'll be up at the hall from 9 to 5 on the 8th and the 9th of May. And then again in August, we thought it would be nice to do for a lot of the summer folks, because some of the people have been here years and years and years and years. Ancestries go back. So August 7th and 8th will be up there as well. So that's it. That's all I have. Thank you very much again for allowing us to use the hall. We really appreciate it. When you have no money, it's nice to have. I'm going to leave a few posters. If anybody wants to take any, that would be great.
And we
Appreciate
have
it.
this display as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
That's great.
photocopy wouldn't come out,
Yeah.
so.
And
Okay.
certainly it's been on Facebook, and every time you see it, share it so we can get
Yeah.
it out there. So we
Yeah.
get lots of people.
Yeah.
Thank you
Great.
so
And
much for all your
okay.
work.
Great.
And I think there's lots of people wondering, I think with the North Frontenac News, ask what's the
Oh, the
oldest?
questions?
I've been hearing that, and people say, oh, I think it's here, I think it's there.
Yeah,
So that'll
I'm-
be interesting to see.
Yeah, I had a phone call actually from somebody wanting to know where the first shoe store was,
Oh, well,
because it was in the paper about where and does anybody know where the first shoe store was?
It was at Mark's house for a while,
yeah,
but
Yeah.
no, wasn't it down by the,
No,
no, not that one?
the house that Mimi Antoine lives in.
Oh, right
Oh,
there, on
right.
that side, okay.
Yeah, in the first
Yeah.
floor of that house. Yeah.
okay, great.
Yeah.
There will be many of those.
There's lots of questions. And
Okay.
one other thing, we've done a book. So
Look
this is
at-
just a draft, okay? Anyway, the other one's coming, but this is just kind of, and we've got as many of the old pictures. This is Sandra Moses' house. As many of the old pictures as we can. And there's been lots of fires. So there's lots of houses that we just have, a newer picture of, depending on where it is. So all the history, who owned them. Yeah. So
Great.
anyway,
Be lots of stuff
Good.
to look at that.
yeah,
Good. It's going to be a busy weekend.
yeah, will be.
Great.
That'll be great.
Thank you very much, Diane.
Thank you.
All right. We have a motion moved by Bill McDonald and seconded by Dan Meeks that council receive the presentation from Diane Lake regarding the 150th anniversary of the Causeway for information. All those in favor? Carried. All right, there's no public meeting. Consent agenda. Moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Philip Smith, that item A, B, E,
A be received.
A be received, okay, for information as it's considered routine. So this whole thing is A.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Any discussion? All those in favor? Carried. No deferred items. We are at staff reports. First is Central Frontenac Fire. So moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Lynn Clegus, that council received the Central Frontenac Fire Rescue Activity Report prepared by the Manager of Emergency Services / Fire Chief dated April the 28th, 2026. Questions, comments? And you're allowed to make some too, Chris, if you'd like. Bill?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just, I was talking to Chris in regard to the 3-year comparisons there, and I'm wondering if it would be worthwhile, Chris, for you to explain why the numbers are so dramatically lower than they have in other times. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor McDonald. Yes, so our call volume is down about 27% from last year at this time. Mainly because I had a meeting with this is my thought on it, the chief of EMS with Mark a couple of months ago. And we discussed the new protocols that they have in place, and that really wasn't working for us. And then all of a sudden our medical calls have dropped right off. So we're still doing some, like the code 4 is, heart issues and things like that, but nothing minor. So it seems that that's the reason for the decline in the call. So we're saving a bit of money there.
Oh, sorry, anyone else? All right, all those in favor of that motion? And next we have moved by Dan Meeks, seconded by Bill Everett, that council receive the on-call part-time firefighters report for information, and that council approve the recommendation of the manager of emergency services fire chief to retain a qualified third-party consulting firm to support a review of the potential transition from a volunteer firefighter model to a part-time paid on-call model, including engagement with current firefighters to obtain their input, perspectives, and concerns. And further, that the manager of emergency services fire chief be authorized to proceed with the procurement and retention of a consultant to complete this work. So let's discuss this. Philip.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm hoping the chief maybe would explain why we're going to look at a consultant. Because when I asked for this, I was kind of hoping that it wasn't going to be a cost to the municipality. And I know we didn't budget anything for any of this work either. So.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor Smith. So in your resolution, you asked that we interview the firefighters. That's sort of a SWOT type thing that we did with the fire master plan. So to be frank, it seems a bit coincidental that we're asking for this to be done just after we've had to have some firefighters disengaged with the department because of lack of attendance. So there might be some people speaking out about this that were on the department that think that this should be reviewed. Personally, myself, I think that the department is running well. We're doing well. I explained to you in a letter why I don't think we should go with the part-time on-call, title. Casual employee would be the one to go with. And that is the experience that Ottawa has gone with their legal department. With the part-time, you're talking about somebody being on standby. So you're actually paying somebody to be on call. That's not what we are. Firefighters are casual labor. They come in, they do the job. When it's finished, they go home. But if we start getting into mixed wording about what their responsibilities are or what their title is, I think that that's not beneficial for us as a department and for the municipality.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I looked at this and wondered about it, what the cost would be overall if we actually went to that model. And I'm just wondering, Chris, when we actually did our community risk study and come up with an official fire master plan, was there any reason why we needed to go to this program to actually meet the issues in regard to, say, attendance or getting new firefighters or retaining firefighters without this program? Or are we in pretty good position and retention of firefighters at the present time?
It's you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor McDonald. I think that we've improved our attendance. Our retention is fairly well, like we're doing well with our numbers. Because council approved the benefit program that we put through, that has certainly helped. The fact that we have, again, a deputy to do the training, that is a big benefit for us because the firefighters with the certification are really, enthused about doing the training. I can say that the risk assessment, it identifies the risks, it educates council on what the risks are in the community. The fire master plan is where we set the level of service of what we want. So the ice water program, things like that, council sets the policy for that. So there's two items there. The risk assessment has to be reviewed every 5 years. So that's coming up to decide the level of service. So for example, if there was something drastically changed in the community that would be a risk to identify, then certainly we would have to look at that as a level of service, what we're going to do to mitigate that risk. So as far as I'm concerned, we've gone from 32 to 33 people back in 2022 to we're over 60 now. So we still have some work to do in the western part of the municipality with staffing levels, but hopefully with the deputy back on board now, we're gonna get more numbers in that area.
Lynn?
I just wanted to comment as well that I agree with what Chris is saying. It doesn't seem, the system doesn't seem to be broken right now. It seems to be growing and improving every year. The fact that we've got the new deputy chief on board now to increase our training abilities, I think that it probably will continue to grow, and the retention seems to be there. So I don't think that spending money to have a study done is worthwhile. So that's just my opinion, though.
Mhm.
And I think we also need to remember our budget and how much we cut because we couldn't afford to do what we wanted to do. Susan?
Through Madam Mayor, I would just like to endorse Councillor Cleggis's comments. I'm also concerned about the potential costs if there is paid on call under the Employment Standards Act. There would certainly be implications that could mean higher ongoing costs. So my question would be, if in addition to a consultant, we would also be looking at legal expenses to review the implications under the Employment Standards Act.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I actually took a comment that Councillor Irwin made at the last meeting about how other municipalities had looked at this. So to see that there was going to be such a cost to have a consultant do it, that was not what I had deemed that we needed to do. I felt that we could share information with our partners. I also feel that the intent of what Councillor Smith was trying to do was about recognizing all the work that our firefighters have taken on, like all the certifications, all the extra training. So it was about acknowledging our commitment to those firefighters and that we honor that they give so much of their time. And saying they're just a volunteer doesn't seem like enough. So I think that was the intent behind the whole motion that Councillor Smith wanted. And it was about recognizing and acknowledging our firefighters. But I don't support, because we didn't put anything in the budget, it is a hefty cost to go forward with it.
Anybody else? And we are having something on Saturday to appreciate them. And again, I think the people who come out don't care about the money. They care about doing a job and safety. We call them volunteers, but we always give them some money based on a system that you have. So maybe is training part of the system to figure out?
Yes, Madam Mayor, and just to add to that, we don't recognize them as volunteers. If anybody's heard me at a banquet or anything else, they're putting out the fire the same as the guy that's making 120,000. So,
Right.
and I think that, to Councillor Smith's point, I only put the consultant to that is for the SWATs, or to talk to the firefighters. Quite frankly, that's what our deputy chief is doing tonight, and they're going to come to him and they'll talk to him about that. Communication's key. We do a newsletter every month to the firefighters, just giving them updates on what's going on in the community. So to change the title to something that sounds like it's going to be more of a full-time position in a part-time atmosphere is not really what we want to do. And I just don't think that we're misleading the firefighters and the community by calling them part-time firefighters. That's just me.
Or volunteers.
Yeah. So.
Bill?
Through you, Madam Mayor, just as a follow-up on this, I'm trying to understand the financial impact. If someone's on call, say 4 or 5 or whatever people were on call, and then there was an incident, and they're being paid to be on call, and then there was an alarm of some kind and they had to respond to that, would that mean that they would actually be in a double pay situation?
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Councillor McDonald, it would have to be set up probably that if they're on call, they're just getting paid for being on call, not the hourly rate on top of that. That would, but there are departments out there that are short-staffed on some weekends, and the chief will make the decision to have 4 or 6 people on call for that period of, say, 48 hours. Yeah.
So it doesn't sound like we want to do this with the consultant or really look at going ahead with coming up with the dollars to do this in this term. This is really something for the next term of council if they wish to do it. Anyway, I will, yes, go
Could I
ahead.
make a suggestion that we did a survey a couple of years ago? Is that something that Councillor Smith would like to have done?
Survey of
All the firefighters, we put the questions together, and then we can include sort of the title of what they think there should be.
Honestly, that's kind of what I was thinking was, internally that a survey would happen with whether it's in person, online, however you do that. And again, this was no slight against the firefighters. I
No.
know they do a lot of work. They submit a lot of time. They do a lot of training. So there's no slight against them. It was, how do you get rid of the word volunteer? Because it's truly not what they are. So
we
that's
just
where it's
need to
coming
stop
from. And it was
saying
not, and it was,
When-
what are the costs if you do that? And that's what the question was, because I have no idea what the costs are. And to Councillor Irwin's point, there's probably costs, but I don't know if it's tens, 20s, 30s of thousands of dollars. Like, I mean, I don't know. So.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I disagree with Councillor Smith on one point only. They are all volunteers. They all volunteered once, and that's all it took.
Right.
Whoops, sorry. What do we want to do with this motion? All those in favor? Opposed? It's defeated. Okay. All right.
Okay, thank you.
We now have Michael in the hot. So, sorry, go ahead.
Can I ask the chief if we can share the letter that you gave me to the rest of council?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So, finance accounts payable report. Moved by Bill McDonald and seconded by Bill Everett, that council received the accounts payable report check distribution in the amount of $1,366,315.42 as prepared by the treasurer for information. Discussion. Shall we pay the bills? All those in favor? Carried.
Already paid, probably.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, you two, I'm going to separate you down at the end of the table there.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, so I stayed with Michael for a minute. Just our expenditures on vehicle repairs have been a bit high, but we've done all our safeties.
Sorry, now I remember.
Okay. And a couple of our tankers, we had significant repairs to do. So remember I said about the refurbishing of tankers. So we spent 16,000 on one and then that's 12,000 on another. So I just wanted to make sure that if you were looking at the numbers, that was the issue.
So you're answering the question before we ask it. Perfect.
Okay.
Phil,
And thank you, Madam
Bill.
Mayor. On the same sort of subject, Canada just for the first time has a built-in Canada only bus. Do you think they'll be applying that to fire trucks?
Through Madam Mayor, Councillor Everett, sorry. Yeah. No, I don't think that. Well, now they manufacture trucks in Canada, but all the parts are still coming from the US.
If I may, Madam Mayor, this is one of the verbal things I was going to tell council later. So there is the Buy Ontario Act that's coming in that my understanding is it does not involve fire vehicles, police, emergency and whatnot, but it does involve light fleet vehicles. It was effective April 13th. There's a high level of information, but not the depth. So we'll have to keep receipts and prove to Ontario. Maybe there may be funding consequences if we're not supported, but we don't know how deep it goes to capital infrastructure projects as of May 15th. But we don't know how much of it's a form that we're going to have to get the vendors to fill out saying we're 80% compliant, that it's Canadian. We don't know a lot of information yet, but that is been coming. It's more administrative work.
And
I was just going to say,
And the manufacturing, yeah, it's
more paperwork.
more fun.
Okay, all right, let's get this motion on the table. Moved by Susan Irwin, seconded by Nikki Gowdy. The council accept the revenue and expenditure budget to actual variances report for the period ending March 31st, 2026 for information. Michael.
One further comment, Madam Mayor, if I may. Obviously, I've highlighted everything that I feel the council needs to know, as was commented. Yes, I want to point everything out that may be a concern to council. Just highlighting the fuel again. We don't know where that's going to go. Obviously, I made that point in here, but I also wanted to celebrate because we don't do that enough. And thank council for passing the budget earlier. We're on capital projects earlier. I believe we're getting better pricing from that. So just to note that celebration.
Okay, good. All those in favor of the motion? I was going to say, thank the strong mayor for doing all the pre-work to bring it to council, but I won't say that.
I can say that. I appreciated your time.
Somebody's got to do it, eh? All right.
Right next to you. There you go.
Moved by Cindy Kelsey, seconded by Philip Smith. That council for the Township of Central Frontenac approve the following reduction changes of assessment pursuant to the Municipal Act. Roll number 1039-010-02022 111 for the period of January 7th, 2026 to December 31st, 2026, as reported by impact. Reason demolition raised by fire or otherwise, 357 1DI. And rule number 1039-040-020, 0290-600 for the period of January 1, 2025 to December 31st, 2026, as reported by impact. Reason demolition raised by fire or otherwise, 357 1DI, and rule number 1039-070-020, 204-35 for the period of September 28th, 2025 to December 31st, 2025. And April 2025 as reported by impact. Reason demolition raised by fire, demolition or otherwise to correct a factual error. 357 1DI. And further that council approve an adjustment of taxes to be calculated by the tax department for the related period. Any question? All those in favor? Carried. Moved by Dan Meek, seconded by Nikki Gowdy, that council receive the RBC Medical Center loan number 85682516-008 renewal term options report, and that council approve the treasurer's recommendation to select option number 2, and that council authorize the mayor and treasurer to execute a financing agreement reflecting the details of option number 2. Discussion. Everybody's good with option number 2? Okay, good. All those in
Okay.
favor? Carry.
Thank you.
And next we have bylaw enforcement. Oh,
Madam Mayor, if
go
I
ahead.
may,
Go ahead,
sorry, I'll
Michael.
delay bylaw a little bit. So I'll let council know that there is a tax sale ad coming out this Thursday. I will email council the report, not a report, but the tax sale properties. If anybody can let me know if they believe that the township should put a bid in, we would put a bid in just like anybody else in the public. Dealing with them if they don't sell will be a later report. But that's one thing. And then also financial statements. I was hoping to bring them in this month, but that's going to have to wait. I'm waiting on the arena, and their KPMG is not going back until June, I believe. So it could be July or August before I bring them back to council for 2025.
How
Just to
many
keep-
properties on the
5.
sale? 5? That's not
Yes.
bad.
Yeah, we generally start out with 10 to 14, I'd say, that we send, and then we end up between 5 and 8 generally that we end up listing.
Good.
So
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do.
thank you as well.
Great.
Thanks, everybody.
We have a motion moved by Lynn Clagus and seconded by Susan Irwin that council received the April 2026 bylaw enforcement and education activity report as prepared by the bylaw enforcement officer for information. And Nikki is here if there's any questions. Bill.
Through you, Madam Mayor, to Nikki. Nikki, you basically only have the stats from while you were here. Am I correct? You don't have anything to go back and say what's happening, improvements in the whatever.
Nothing
It's a
to
matter of
compare to.
interest.
Through you, Madam Mayor. No, what's on here is just currently this year to date. I could go back and see and try and figure it out. But basically what I have is when I started.
Yep. Okay. All right. No other questions? All those in favor? Carried. That was easy. Okay, now we've got the Administration CO Clerk Department. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Bill Everett, that council receive the CAO Clerk Department update as prepared by the Deputy Clerk for information. Discussion? Comments? All those in favor? Carried. And Corporate Resource Policy, moved by Philip Smith, seconded by Bill McDonald. Whereas Section 88.18 of the Municipal Elections Act 1996 requires municipalities and local boards to establish rules and procedures with respect to the use of municipal resources during the election campaign period prior to May 1 in an election year. And whereas the Township of Central Frontenac adopted a use of corporate resource policy in 2022, and whereas a review has been completed to ensure the policy reflects current legislative requirements, best practices, and modern communication platforms. Now, therefore, be it resolved that council accept the updated use of corporate resource policy for municipal elections as attached. Questions or comments on the document? All those in favor? Carried. Next, moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council received the report regarding the proposed municipal support resolution protocol for information, and that council provide comments and feedback to staff on the proposed protocol no later than May 15th, 2026, and that staff report back with a revised municipal support resolution protocol for council's consideration and potential adoption. Any questions or comments? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to thank Jody and Kathy for working on this. Like it might not seem like a lot, but it meant a lot to the people down in my end of the township. So thank you both very, very much.
Thank you.
Susan?
Through Madam Mayor, and along the same vein, I would like to thank you both for your work on it, and also because it will be so helpful to council in having to make decisions when matters like this come before us.
Good. Okay. All those in favor? Carried. And now we are at tenders. Yes. Moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that council accept the tender submissions for cemetery grounds maintenance contracts for a 2.5-year term as evaluated and recommended by the CAO clerk. And that Netto Property Maintenance be awarded the contract for the Oso District in the amount of $11,159.28 plus HST, and for the Hinchinbrook District in the amount of $28,663.70 plus HST. And that Kennebec Tree and Lawn be awarded the contract for the Kennebec District in the amount of $12,658 plus HST, and for the Olden District in the amount of $19,375 plus HST. And that council decline the submissions received for the All Districts contract, RFQ Admin 2026-01, on the basis that they are not financially feasible for the township. And further, that the mayor and CAO clerk be authorized to execute the necessary agreements. Discussion? Nikki?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just have a question about the contracts. In the contract, does it say as required, or does it say like they're to visit the cemeteries weekly? Just because there was confusion last year and that over what the contracts.
When they thought it was required
Yeah.
and when the public thought it was required.
Exactly, that's my question. Thank you.
Yeah,
very
because it
much.
says, yeah, the RFQ does not set a fixed schedule weekly or monthly, but it's a performance-based contract requiring the contract to attend the cemeteries regularly. So frequency is determined by the conditions, not necessarily a set time. So if, we have a lot of rain and there's a lot of grass, it might be quicker they'll have to get out and do that. So the contractor, must maintain standards at all times, not just on scheduled visits. So they can, if they see it, if they're going by or somebody else and we let them know, then that they'll have to go and do it up.
Okay. Cindy?
Should we have on there though, maybe like if the grass is over 4 inches high, that it has to be cut so that it's more precise?
Well,
Like
it
one
does-
person's standards is different than another person's.
Yeah,
standards,
the
right?
key maintenance standards are the grass must be cut before exceeding 10 centimeters and maintained at no less than 4 centimeters. Trimming required immediately after mowing, garbage and litter removed regularly, the shrubs, the hedges and trees pruned throughout the season. Cemeteries must be kept clean, safe, and in good repair. And if in the wintertime, snow clearing within 24 hours of a significant snowfall. And the contractor is responsible for determining how often to attend to meet those standards. And so, and then we certainly, here's the township enforces the results and conditions, not a set maintenance schedule.
Okay, thank
So
you,
it's
Kathy.
covered.
You're welcome.
Okay. Sounds like we've covered it. It's just when the phone calls come in, especially the ones at the far end, like the one up in Henderson. It's kind of at the end, and you'll get calls about getting that one done. All right.
Bordenwood.
Bordenwood. It's in your territory though.
Bordenwood's in my territory, but it's not a very nice road at some times of the year.
There you go. All right. All those in favor of the motion, carried. Okay. Moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that council received the report regarding the potential installation of tower urns in township cemeteries. And further, that council approved the implementation of tower urns within the following cemeteries: Parham, Piccadilly, Wagerville, and Mountain Grove, new. And further, that tower urn installations utilize a reduced lot configuration of approximately 2 feet by 3 feet. And further, that each tower urn installation permit up to 4 urns per tower plot. And further, that staff be directed to proceed with the necessary site planning, fee structure development, and amendments to the cemetery bylaw to implement tower urns in accordance with the above. Questions, comments? Bill?
Madam Mayor, too. I don't know who to, but
Jody and Stephanie worked on this.
right. Are we going to have any security around these urns? Because I'm just wondering if they're subject to vandalism because of what people actually put in these urns and store in these. I'm just wondering if we are prepared to secure them in any way, even if it's just with signs saying under video surveillance of some accord. Just my opinion.
Okay, we talked about liability, but the urns are sealed inside the cement headstone. So that's about as cozy as you're going to get it. And really, it's as safe as the columbarium would be. And we've mentioned that to people, and it may be something that's not for everybody. So there may only be a few of these, but if people want to give this a try, if they start to get vandalized, then I think we would have to take a different look at this. It is a possibility, but we hope not. Lynn and then Dan?
Thanks, Madam Mayor. Have we ever had vandalism at the columbariums?
No.
No.
No,
No.
okay.
It's only been up though, what, 4 or 5 years?
I thought it's been longer than that, maybe.
Could be. Time flies.
Yeah, 5, 6 years, maybe.
Dan?
Thanks,
so
Madam
you
Mayor.
would for-
My concern was the 2x3 plots, whether or not that would be sufficient size for maintenance, like grass cutting and whippersnipping in between the two towers.
Oh, I see. Like,
Because there wouldn't be room for a lawnmower, whether that would be much more maintenance than just whippersnipping. I think there should be a bit bigger.
there's a
plot.
guy who's cut grass on a cemetery.
That's right.
I think we were doing a walkway as well. So it's going to have the urns, but you're going to have a walkway and room in between. So I think they might be okay to do some with a mowing with a normal.
Could that be
We
something?
were considering a
Yes.
4-foot walkway,
Right.
and we were considering about a foot between each of the sites. May have to go a little wider
soon as we look at
To
it.
get a lawnmower
Yeah.
through it maybe, in between the two sites, but 4 feet should be plenty for a lawnmower to go through,
Mhm.
between the rows. But the site planning hasn't been completed, but that's a very good point, Councillor Meeks.
Yeah.
Good to know. Now, Philip.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I was fine with designating spots in the cemetery for these to condense space, which is one of the reasons I thought this was a good idea. But I also expressed some concern that people already own some of these plots and may want to use this type of burial on the plots they already own. So I'd like to see it extended to the existing plots as well as an option, but that would be my only suggestion.
I think we would certainly discuss this further with the BOA as to, because when Jody did the research, it was showing that anybody having these urns are not within they have a separate spot within the cemetery. They're not mixed in with the other plots and everything. So I don't know a reason why. I can't know that answer at this point, but we can certainly check with the BOA. Because that's why, so Stephanie was showing different areas within the cemetery where there's more vacant land at that point. The other thing is too, is we don't know if we have to do a survey. We did in Oconto, when we put the columbarium up, we had to survey there to show where the plots and stuff were as well. So I don't know if we need to do that yet.
So we'll ask that question.
Yes.
Nikki.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Kathy, would it be an opportunity, say somebody has already purchased a plot, but they want to put up the tower instead? Could we trade plots with them or work with them?
They could sell their plot.
Yeah, sell their plot.
Buy another one.
Yeah, we can certainly, certainly work with them and see
You
what.
can sell your plot, right?
No, they
No,
cannot.
cannot.
No,
Can they transfer it though?
they can transfer it button to the township, back to the township.
Oh.
They cannot sell their plot
Well,
under the rules.
we might have to change that rule.
I don't think we can. I think
No.
that's under the ministry, I think it was, yeah.
Okay. Philip.
Sorry, the only other comment I would have Oconto Cemetery wasn't mentioned, but there's a big section of that cemetery that's very shallow ground already. So it might be an ideal spot to look as a location as well.
Is Oconto the one that has the columbarium now?
Yes, it is.
I think that's why Stephanie didn't include it, but we can definitely look into it, Philip.
Yeah, and that's where it was already, we did surveying up there too, so
There is a
we have it
spot
there.
where it's rock.
Yes.
Bit of soil.
Maybe I shouldn't talk about Oconto. I'm a landowner there. So the reason I was bringing up the vandalism, because if you remember a couple of years ago in Belleville and Trenton, where the youngsters were high on something and they did a lot of damage. So I'm suggesting if we're doing these, that some form of warning vis-a-vis under video surveillance and that kind of stuff should be considered. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
There we go.
Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Susan Irwin, that council receive the report regarding updates to the nuisance beaver management bylaw, and further that council authorize staff to obtain a legal review of the revised bylaw prior to bringing it back to council for consideration and adoption. Discussion. All those in favor? Carried. No committee reports, communication correspondence for action. Letter dated April the 2nd, 2026 from Diana Gore, Manager of Marketing and Communications with Kingston Frontenac Public Library regarding sign placement for the summer reading program. Moved by Lynn Clegg, seconded by Philip Smith, that council approve the placement of a Kerbex sign advertising the summer reading program at Hope's General Store, located within the township-owned portion of the parking lot in Parham, and that the sign be permitted for the period of June 15th to July 15th, 2026. And further, that the proponent enter into an agreement with the township, including an indemnification and liability waiver satisfactory to the township, and provide proof of general liability insurance in the amount not less than $2 million, naming the township as an additional insured. They've done this last a couple of years. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, moved by Nikki Gowdy, seconded by Cindy Kelsey, that bylaw 2026-19, being a bylaw for the licensing of dogs and prohibiting the running at large of dogs within the Township of Central Frontenac, be read a first and second and third time and finally passed this 28th day of April 2026. Discussion, all those in favor? Carried. Moved by Bill McDonald, seconded by Susan Irwin, that bylaw 2026-20 being a bylaw to designate bylaw 2026-16 parking regulations and bylaw 2026-19 canine control under the administrative monetary penalty system bylaw number 2024-43 for the Township of Central Frontenac be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed this 28th day of April 2026. Discussion, all those in favor? Carried. Any giving of notice of motion?
No, Madam Mayor.
Any new business?
No, there's not.
My goodness, we're at closed session. So we have a motion moved by Bill Everett, seconded by Dan Meeks, that council resolve into closed session pursuant to section 239 of the Municipal Act to discuss 1, labor relations, organizational implementation plan, section 239-2D, 2, negotiations, land use agreement, 239-2K, and 3, litigation matters, roadway incidents, section 239-2E. All those in favor? Carried.